What's going on, everyone? It's John with Midrange TCG. Sorry for the late update. There were a couple additional spoilers for Guilds of Ravnica for the 11th, and I'm reviewing it at 1 a.m. in the morning, and I just found out that there were 5 other spoilers that got released, so we're going to take a look at them, and I've got 4 of them translated here. So the first one is Reign of Notions. This is going to be a sorcery card, and it says Surveil 2, draw 2 cards, Reign of Notion deals 2 damage to you. And the flavor text says the air of the city is permeated by a constant drizzle of private thoughts. That's pretty spicy. I actually really like that. I really like the flavor text there. But if we're looking at Dimir colors, 3 mana, sorcery speed, scry 2, draw 2, deal 2 damage to yourself. I think that's actually really good. Just because it's draw power, right? You can feed Search for Escanto with this card, and on top of that, it's just a really good turn 3 card. It's better than Divination, right? And Divination is 2 and a blue. So I think this card is actually really good. Next we have Secrets of the Mausoleum. The title's right here, and this card says it's an instant speed card, and it says Undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with converted mana cost equal to or less than the number of creature cards in a graveyard. Reveal it, add it to your hand, shuffle your library. Pretty good fetch card, honestly. This is probably one of the best tutor cards. And the thing is, it doesn't search for a creature, it doesn't search for a non-land permanent, it searches for a black card with converted mana cost equal to or less than the number of creature cards in the graveyard. I think that's absolutely insane. Just the fact that it's a tutor card, if you go like turn 1 Stitcher Supplier, and you bin 3 cards, turn 2, you can actually just search your deck for a converted mana cost creature equal to 3 if you bin 3 creatures. So I think that's pretty insane. I think this card is probably going to be very good. Just the fact that it helps you tutor. An example, if you need like a Vraska's Contempt, you can pick up a Vraska's Contempt, right? You can, by the way, when it says you can search for a black card, that means any card that's also a gold card. So an example, like the Reign of Notions, you can also search for this card because it does have black in its color, right? Unfortunately, Scarab God is rotating out of the meta, so we can't play Scarab God, but we have a lot of other cards that we can tutor. We can definitely tutor up any of the zombie creatures. We can tutor up our Liliana Planeswalker, right? There's a lot of things that we can tutor. We can tutor Vraska with this card if we wanted to. So I think that's really cool. Just awesome to have. It's also just an instant speed card, so the fact that Undergrowth sort of revolves around the graveyard is pretty interesting. I'm really liking this mechanic so far. There's still quite a few cards we're missing from the set. We're looking at probably like another 140, 160 cards we're missing from the set. We've been spoiled about 89, 90 cards. So yeah, we've got about a good 160 cards left. So Secrets of the Mausoleum, not a bad card, honestly. I think this card's pretty good. It might see some standard play. I don't know if it's going to be an insane card, but the thing is, when you play against like a control deck, having a Vraska's Contempt up against Teferi, at the end of their turn, they just go, in response, untap 2 lands. I'm responding to Teferi's ability to untap 2 lands. I'm going to play this card, right, and then I'm going to Vraska's Contempt it on my upkeep or something like that. So this definitely does let you use the ability, sort of play around Teferi. It also lets you play around other cards. Like when your opponent taps out, you can just go ahead and play this, right? It's only 2 mana, searches your deck, and tutors your deck for any converted mana cost black card. So I think that's absolutely awesome. Next card we have is Spirit of Nightveil, or Fairy Rogue, as the translation came out to be on Magic Spoiler. And this card is a 2 mana Scoundrel. I'm assuming this is probably going to be like a fairy or a spirit of some kind. And it says Volare, which means to fly, or it has flying. So it's a 2 mana 1/2 with flying. And it says whenever it attacks, you get to surveil 1. The ability is pretty cool. Honestly, I think what they're doing is they're trying to push the surveil mechanic, which is really awesome. Just because it sort of bins cards in the graveyard, and especially with Dimir colors, when you want to bin creatures into your graveyards that you can get these effects off. Definitely a really awesome card. And then just being a 2 mana 1/2 is okay. I prefer if it was a 2 mana 2/1. Lets you play a bit more on the aggressive side. Obviously it'll die to Goblin Chainwhirler, but the 1/2 doesn't. And then it always just lets you surveil, which is pretty awesome. And the last card that's untranslated is Whispering. I believe this is Whispering Spy. That's what I was going to come out. That's what I was thinking it was going to be. And it's a Vampire Scoundrel. I'm assuming it's a Vampire Spy of some sort. But it says whenever you surveil for the first time each turn, Whispering Spy deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. Pretty cool. And the flavor text says, of course I hear I hear many things said, but how can I speak with my throat like that? I'm assuming it's a reference to, he's a spy, but there's a chance that he could have his throat slit for, you know, just kind of being too careless. So 2 mana, 1/3, really good stats. And just every time you surveil, deal damage to your opponent, draw, and you gain a life. I think that sort of ping damage, the sort of tick damage, is actually really good because it's something that can't be prevented, right? Fogs can't prevent it, and then on top of that, cards like Gideon that would have said, or cards that say, like target permanent can't deal damage. Or sorry, you take no damage this turn, or you take no combat damage this turn. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of blanking out, but like it says deal 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. I'm pretty sure it should say your opponent loses a life and you gain a life. That's usually how cards that drain work. But if not, I mean, oh no, it does say it. It says inflict 1 damage. So yeah, okay. So it says deal 1 damage to your opponent and you gain 1 life. That's actually not bad, just because like sometimes you do have like a surveil mechanic just kind of built into a certain card. I think what they're going to do is they're going to have a card where it's like at the beginning of your upkeep you can surveil 1. So I'm assuming there's going to be a card like that. It's probably going to be like a blue mythic or something like that. We are still missing quite a few, so definitely do look into that. And then the last card we have is Beast Whisperer. So this is 2 green for a 2/3. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. I think finally green is getting its payoff card. Obviously, it's in the form of draw power, because for the most part, green doesn't have a whole bunch of draw power, right? You have cards like Vivian Reed, which you look at the top 5 cards of your library, right? Grab a creature or land, add it to your hand. Historically, like all the all the cards that sort of do that, even like cards like Adventurer's Impulse, where it's like look at the top 3 cards, add a creature or land to your hand, or something like what is it? Something with dinosaurs. Convene with dinosaurs or something like that. It's like 1 mana, search your library, look at the top 5 cards of your library, add a dinosaur or land to your hand, and then put the rest on your bottom. A lot of those are like filter. So you filter through the top 5 cards, but the problem is green hasn't had a whole lot of payoff. They essentially drop these massive creatures, and if your opponent has the removal spells or your opponent has like the counter spells, green sort of just loses out. And so what Beast Whisperer says is essentially you get to turn 3 with Llanowar Elf. On turn 3, you get to play this guy, and he essentially just draws you cards, right? And that's absolutely insane because green, I think one of green's biggest weaknesses is the fact that they have so much gas and they're able to play such big creatures, but then they also lose out super hard when they run out of attrition cards. So cards that are rotating out, an example, we're looking at stuff like Lifecrafter's Bestiary, which lets you scry 1, right? And every time you play a creature card, you can pay an additional green if you do draw a card. That card's actually really good against control, and I think Beast Whisperer being in the main deck, just kind of like as a card, is just good. He's kind of slow against aggro, but 2 mana or 4 mana 2/3 is actually not bad. I think 3 mana 2/3 will probably be even better, but he is rated as a rare, so I think this card's actually going to be really good. I'm starting to like Dimir a bit more, honestly, like with just Reigns of Notions, cards like these where it's like surveil 2, draw 2 cards, deal 2 damage. Cards like this which sort of reminisce Glimmer of Genius, except it's a sorcery speed. Honestly, if this card was like instant speed, this card would be absolutely awesome. So I think this card could potentially have a lot more going for it. But sorcery speed, I mean, what can you ask for? It's a common. The artwork's awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's spoilers. I will update you guys when there is another spoiler. Do follow my Twitter page. You can follow me at MidrangeTCG. You can also check out my eBay page. If you do like my videos, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to like my videos. And just tell me, like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Dimir? What do you guys think about Selesnya? What do you guys think about Orzhov? What do you guys think about, is it and whatever, go Gary? So, like, yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Because honestly, I think these cards are looking pretty good. But it's still up in the air. Definitely still up in the air. So, yeah, once again, name is John with Midrange TCG. Like, comment, subscribe. See you later.